everyone. Welcome to tonight's webinar for our Opportunity Scholarship Applicants. My name is Elena Solorio, and I am the Senior Program Manager at TheDream.Us. And tonight I will be walking through the application with you and have the opportunity to take any of your questions on anything that you have been thinking about as you've gone through the application. I also have Sadhana Singh with me. She is our communications manager at TheDream.Us, and we also have several current scholars with us, and they're going to have a chance to share with you a little bit about their experience with the application and how it has been for them since starting at one of our partner colleges. So I'm going to go ahead and get started here. So just the quick agenda for tonight, we're going to give you a brief overview of TheDream.Us. You'll have a chance to hear from Sadhana, who is also one of our past scholars, and just some insight from her. We'll go over the award eligibility criteria. From there, we'll take questions based on the awards and eligibility criteria. Once questions are over, we'll go to the application breakdown, timeline, selection, and process for all of that, and then give you another chance to ask questions as it relates to those items. And then you'll get a chance to hear from our current scholars, and then we'll follow it up with some tips. And then at the very end, if any time is remaining, we'll be more than happy to take further questions. All right, so let's go ahead and get started here. So just a little bit about TheDream.Us, and we are the largest college access and success program for dreamers in the nation. We currently have over 3,000 scholars attending schools in 15 states and DC, and we have partnered with over 75 partner colleges. We currently offer 2 scholarship applications, and the one that you are applying for is our Opportunity Scholarship. And that is 5 specific schools that we partner with that are in states, and we'll go over those. And then we've done this ultimately so that we have the ability to provide scholarships to very highly motivated, low-income dreamers, and just it's a chance for us to provide advocacy for tuition and aid equity for our dreamers. Right. And I am actually going to go ahead and turn it over to Sadhana real quick, and she's just going to kind of go through some reasons why you should apply.
Hi everyone, my name is Sadhana Singh. I'm Program and Communications Manager with TheDream.Us, and as Elena mentioned, I'm also a former scholar. I actually just graduated from Trinity Washington University this past, 2018 in May. So today I'm going to tell you why to apply to TheDream.Us. Why are you doing this? Why are you here tonight? So more than a scholarship, TheDream.Us is actually an entire community that believes in you. When you become a scholar, if you do, you will get a partner college that's committed to dreamers. You're going to get a school that is going to be a safe space for dreamers. You're going to get a faculty that's already supportive of dreamers. You're not just going to be an anonymous person on this campus. You're also getting a scholar advisor who's going to support and guide you throughout your collegiate experience. So they're going to be your point of contact that you go to for anything, for academics, for help with anything you're going through. Even sometimes when you're stressed or you have anxieties, this is going to be your go-to person on campus. Next, you're going to be going to your partner college with a group of dreamers. So you're going to be meeting fellow scholars there on your campus who are going to be sharing the same experiences as you are, and you get to go through these things together. Bigger than that, you're actually going to get a national community online of close to our 3,000 dreamers that we have right now in the program. Now, this is something I can speak to personally because I was a scholar. So I was a national scholar. I was not an opportunity scholar. However, I did move from one state to another for college. Now, when I applied for TheDream.Us in 2014, the Opportunity Scholarship did not exist. So I voluntarily moved from Georgia to Washington, D.C. for college. I made that choice for me because I really wanted to earn my college degree. And this turned out to be one of the best decisions I ever made in my life. So at that time, I had to pay for my room and board out of pocket, but with the Opportunity Scholarship now, if you become a scholar, you will have all of that covered. So this is an amazing program that I would want each one of you to be part of. When I got to Trinity, it was a whole new world for me. I got a college that understood me as a dreamer. I got a community that supported me throughout my experience. I wasn't ashamed to say that I was a dreamer. I attended Trinity Washington University, and the president of the college is very outspoken about her support for dreamers, and it was just a very safe and supportive place for me to be at that time. My scholar advisor and my professors were all aware of my status. I didn't have to hide it. I could go to them and I could say, hey, I want to do this internship, or I want to apply for this job, but my status is this. Can you help me? And they all understood and guided me throughout the process. And of course, I met some of the greatest people on campus. Some of them are here tonight from Trinity, and they're going to speak about their experiences too. So with that, I'll take you to reason number 2. So we know some facts about college graduates. Again, why are you doing this? So college graduates typically earn 66% more than a high school graduate. You're also twice as likely to have a job, to be employed, if you have a college degree. And by 2020, we know that about 2/3 of job openings will require a post-secondary education or training. So you are making the right decision today to start this application. Reason number 3, once you complete your degree, no one will ever take it away from you. Your education is yours for life. Now, with the current climate in our country, within 2019, we're not sure yet what's going to happen, but being in college will help you if and when the government does try to do something for dreamers or those with DACA. Next, you can take your college degree with you anywhere in the world. And I have a personal story about this as well. I actually got married to a fellow scholar, and he earned his degree as well with TheDream.Us, and he has been recently offered a job in Canada. So with this opportunity, he probably would have never gotten it if he didn't have his degree through TheDream.Us. So once you have your education, you can take it anywhere in the world, and you will be guaranteed amazing opportunities. Lastly, TheDream.Us can help you get there. So I'll hand it over to Elena, who's going to tell you all about our program.
Thanks, Sedana. All right, so just to give you a little bit of background about the award, the way the award works is it's a total of up to $80,000 for a bachelor's degree at one of our 5 partner colleges. This award is basically, it's $20,000 per year, which would cover your tuition, your fees, your campus housing, as well as meals. The only thing that it would not cover would be any relocation costs, so moving from your home state to the state where the school is located. Sorry. I have a cat who has decided he wanted to join in, and he's trying to get up on the desk. Sorry about that, guys. All right, so again, it doesn't cover relocation costs, your book supplies, or transportation. So to give you an idea, in order to receive the award, you have to currently live in and have graduated from high school in one of the schools listed here on the right-hand side. So Arkansas, Alaska, North Carolina, South Carolina, North Dakota, South Dakota, Georgia, Indiana, Iowa, Louisiana, Mississippi, Missouri, West Virginia, and Wisconsin. If you do live outside of one of those states, or you currently live in one of those states but have you graduated high school from a state other than that, this would not be the scholarship you would need to be looking at. You can take a look at our national scholarship because you do have to have currently live in and have graduated from one of these states. All right. And now a little bit about the 5 partner colleges that we have. So Delaware State University, Western Oregon University, Trinity Washington University, Eastern Connecticut State University, and Christian Brothers University. As Sedona stated earlier, Trinity is where she went, and it is located in Washington, D.C., and Christian Brothers University is located in Memphis, Tennessee, just to give you an idea of where those two would be located. All right, now to go over our eligibility criteria for the program. As I stated, you have to live in and have graduated or will graduate by the end of this academic year in one of those locked out states. Have already graduated or you're going to graduate this year with a GPA of 2.8 or better on a 4.0 scale. As long as you have taken the ACT or SAT, you will have to provide those test scores. They are a requirement of this particular scholarship. You cannot have been previously enrolled in a four-year college or university or a bachelor's degree program. You would be intending to relocate to and enroll full-time in a bachelor's degree program at one of those 5 opportunity partner colleges in the fall of this year. Have come to the U.S. before you turned 16. You have to have current DACA or TPS authorization. If you do not have those, as long as you certify that you do meet the DACA immigration eligibility criteria, if it's one of those instances where you just did not have a chance to apply for it before it was rescinded, as long as you meet all of those criteria, you would still be eligible. And finally, have significant unmet financial need. All right, now we're going to go jump over here and see if anybody has any questions related to the award or the eligibility criteria.
So we have no questions so far, but just to give you all a recap of how to do that. So you have 2 options to ask questions. You will see on your GoToWebinar dashboard a little hand icon, and you can click that hand icon to actually raise your hand. Now, when you raise your hand, it'll show to us, and we can then unmute you, and you can actually ask the question out loud to our presenters. The second option is you have a question chat box that you can actually type the questions right in there, and we will be reading it out loud and answer it that way. So those are the 2 options that you have. For now, I don't see any raised hands or questions, Elena, so I think we can continue, and there'll be another opportunity to ask questions later.
Absolutely, and that was completely my fault for not giving you the instructions earlier before we got started. So as I continue to go through, if you end up having any questions related to the award or the eligibility criteria when we hit the second set, feel free to ask. So, all right. So we are going to go over the application. So for those of you who have already started the application, whether you have gone through all of the individual pages of the application or have only just kind of looked at the very beginning, this will just kind of give you a quick overview of what's required within the application. So the first section is our applicant data. Here is where you're going to provide us with your name, the city, state, and zip code of where you live. You'll also provide us the information to let us know whether you currently have DACA or TPS status, as well as what your expiration date is for that, or whether you meet the DACA eligibility criteria. And then from there, you'll move on to the academic information section. And here you're going to let us know your high school, what sorts of classes you took. There's a section on there so that you can let us know if you were in any AP classes, honors classes, if you took any IB classes. You'll let us know, obviously the name of the school where you attended, what your overall GPA was, as well as if you have earned any community college credits, either while you were in school or if you have already graduated and just have not gone on to a 4-year university just because you've not been able to, you'll let us know that here as well. So if by chance, we may end up having somebody who has completed some, like I said, some college credits outside of high school, as long as you have not earned more than 21 credits at a community college, you're still eligible to apply for the scholarship. Unfortunately, if you've been enrolled in a four-year university or you have more than 21 credits earned at a community college outside of high school, then you would not be eligible. From here, you would move on to the financial information section. And this information is self-reported. So we do not require you to provide any financial documents. But here's ultimately where you're going to let us know, what the family income is for a year, how many people within your family are supported by that income, and how many people would be attending college beginning in the fall of 2019. This gives us an idea of how much financial need you have. And since that is one of our eligibility criteria pieces, this information is really important. The only time that any sort of documentation would be required is if we've reached out to you and requested it. But don't feel like that's something that's definitely going to happen. It's only if there's something in there where we have questions about it that we would potentially reach out to you. From here, you would move on to the essays, and the essays are one of the most important pieces of the application. There are two essays to the application. One is for you to let us know what your educational and career goals are, and the second one is to let us know how you've overcome adversity in your life. The one thing that is most important with this, when you are working on those essays, definitely put your heart into it. We want to be able to see, what has happened in your life, what your goals are. And the other important thing is to really have the opportunity to have it done with enough time that you can take it to somebody that, whether it's a teacher or a college counselor at your school, and let them review it. Let them give you feedback on it. Once the essays are reviewed, they are going to be reviewed for things like spelling and grammar and things like that. So you want to make sure that you're definitely putting your best foot forward when it comes to the essays. And for supporting documents, things that you will have to upload into the application, you'll have to upload a copy of your ACT or SAT test scores. If you've taken both of them, you do have the ability to provide both sets of scores. You'll provide us a copy of your high school transcript, as well as a college transcript if you have previously earned credits, whether it's through a dual enrollment program or after high school. All right, so the timeline for the application closes on January 31st. So I cannot believe we're already what feels like this far into January, but the 31st will be here before you know it. So make sure you continue to work through that application so that you can get it turned in on time. There are not any extensions given for the application, so it will close at 11:59 p.m. on the 31st. Mid-March is when we will begin notifying recipients, and then those who have been awarded the scholarship will have until mid-May to accept the award. If the award has not been accepted by the deadline that's provided there, unfortunately, you would have lost out on the scholarship. So one piece of information just to kind of give you with that is make sure that you are adding TheDream.Us at Apply ISTS, and that'll be on a later slide, to your safe senders list. Sometimes emails do end up in a spam or junk folder based on the provider that you use. You want to make sure that you are receiving notifications from ISTS about your application. All right, and then just to give you the idea of how the selection criteria works. So it is a rigorous application process, and it includes the scoring of your grades, your ACT, SAT test scores, as well as any participation in advanced courses that you've had. There's also a section in the application, I didn't go over it on the one page, But we do ask for, activities that you're doing outside of school. So community service activities. We want to know if you're working, what sort of volunteer work you're doing. Another piece to that is we also have a section in there for home responsibilities, because we know with most dreamers, you don't have the ability to get out there and do a lot of volunteer work and community service work because there's a ton of things that you're doing at home, whether it's assisting with translating for your parents or grandparents, having to go to doctor's appointments with them, helping out with younger siblings, with schoolwork, babysitting, things like that. So we really do take all that into consideration when scoring your application. And then finally, the essays. All of this is done, and then once the applications have been scored, the applications will then be sent to the 2 schools that you have listed on the application as your first and second choice. Both schools will review your entire application. So transcripts, essays, all of that will be reviewed by the school, since you are not completing a separate application to attend their school. So make sure everything that you're putting on there, you're doing it just as if you were also completing a college application, because in essence you are. From there, the schools will review everything and then let us know whether they would be able to accept you or not. All right, and then here is that email address that I was talking about. So any questions that you have once the webinar is over, definitely reach out to ISTS. Their customer care department is there to answer any and all questions that you have as it relates to the scholarship application. And if it's something that's a little tougher that the customer care department can't answer, they'll actually escalate it to the program manager who is at ISTS, who works directly with me on the scholarship applications. And she'll be able to get those answered for you. We also have some frequently asked questions on our website, so definitely feel free to visit www.TheDream.Us. And then there's also the phone number there for the customer care desk at ISTS. All right, now let's go ahead and see if we've had anybody come up with any questions.
Yes, so we actually have one hand raised, and remember, if you want to speak out loud and ask a question, remember to click that little hand icon and I will call your name. So we have a person, Fatima Gadina. You can ask your question.
Hi, you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So I have a question about one of your previous slides. I believe it was under the requirements for applying, and I didn't read anywhere on the website about having any more than, I believe you said 21 credits after high school.
Correct.
Okay. So
how many have you earned at this point? Or have you already earned your community college or associate's degree?
Yeah, I've already earned my associate's degree.
Okay, nope. That is actually, and I'm very glad that you brought that up because that is completely my bad on that one. Our national application, you have to have had less than 21 credits, but for this one, you can be a community college graduate and still apply. So that was completely 100% my bad on that one.
Okay, I'm so glad to hear. My heart just like dropped.
Yeah, no, it's as long as you have not enrolled in a 4-year college university where you have already taken credits towards a bachelor's degree. As long as you have not done that, you are 100% still eligible as a community college graduate. I am so sorry about that.
It's okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay.
All right, we have 2 more questions in the chat box. So one question is, how many are awarded the scholarship?
So we don't have an exact number. It has varied over the years, but we are looking to award somewhere in the ballpark of about 140 scholarships for our opportunity applicants.
Okay, and we have a second question. I'll read it as the person typed it. I've tried to upload 2 ACT scores, but it only allows me to upload 1. Would I be able to send my second ACT report somewhere else?
What you need to do in that instance is actually go ahead and delete the one that you've already uploaded unless they have already accepted it. If it's already showing that it's accepted on your application, reach out to ISTS. What you'll need to do is actually put both of them into a zip folder, and then you can upload the one zip folder to the application.
All right, and last question in the chat box. What are some common mistakes that you see in the applications?
Okay. One of the biggest mistakes that I'm currently seeing in this round, for some applicants, it may not be a mistake, but I know for several it is based on some of the other answers in the application. Make sure you're reading each of the questions very carefully. On the applicant page, there is a question that asks country of origin, and we have had quite a few people put that their country of origin is the United States. If you are a DACA recipient, you obviously were not born in the United States, and therefore the application would not be considered. Even if it's a complete application, if you've stated that you were ultimately born in the US, the application is not considered. So make sure you are reading those questions. The other thing to do is definitely, if something isn't making sense to you in the application, if there is an advisor or teacher at the school that you are comfortable talking with who is aware of your status, please have them help you with it. If there's not, reach out to ISTS. They will be able to provide the clarification on any questions that you have. The other is really being very vague in the essays. You can tell when somebody's really taken their time in their essay or not. We've had some essays that come in, it's a max of 750 words that you can actually provide for your essay. We've had some essays come in with as little as 100. And then obviously that's not going to give the selection committee really enough, I guess the best way to say it is meat to the essay for us to really understand who it is, who you are. So, really make sure that you are, providing as much information. The other thing is if you are writing the essay actually in the essay box on the application, you do have the ability to go over 750 words, or if you're copying and pasting it in, and it'll tell you how many words you have hit towards your max. If you don't take it down to the 750 words, it will cut your essay off. So even though it looks like you have the ability to show that it's showing all of it there for you, when we go to look at it, it will cut it off. So make sure that you're staying within the 750. So I hope that's helped.
All right, no more questions as of now, so I guess we can continue.
Okay, so moving on. So, and just remember, nobody can take your education away from you. A college degree is going to equal a better job and pay for you, in the long run. So, definitely do not give up. And, by applying with us, and if you're awarded, you're definitely going to be part of a nationwide community of dreamers. Some of the things that we do, especially with our opportunity scholars, and you'll get a chance to hear that here in just a few minutes from our current scholars, is most of our campuses, there's chances for y'all to get together. You have, various, I guess, meetings and things like that that are planned so that you have a chance to get to know somebody else, who's going through the same thing. They've moved away from home. and you end up being friends for life, because of, everything that y'all have gone through. So what we're going to go ahead and do now is give you that chance to talk with or to hear from some of our scholars. So the scholars that we have with us tonight, we've got Sarah from Trinity Washington University. We got Margarita, who's also attending Trinity, and Indira at Delaware State. So ladies, welcome. We're so glad that you were able to join us tonight. So we've kind of already talked with the girls and, kind of given them some questions and things that we'd like them to kind of talk to everyone here tonight about. So let's go ahead and get started. And I think we'll go ahead and we'll get started with Indira. So Indira, go ahead and tell everybody, where you're from, and then some things that you learned, or helped you when you were applying for the scholarship.
Okay, can everyone hear me? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Hi everyone, my name is Indira, and I am a junior at Delaware State University studying biology. So with my biology degree, I'm hoping to go to medical school. But things that I learned while I was applying to the scholarship is kind of learn how to tell my story. It was the first time that I had ever put my story into writing. So that's one of the things I learned, and it actually allowed me to kind of, reflect, do some reflecting, and just, look back and realize how far I've come, and that it doesn't stop there. It doesn't have to stop there. You can keep going. So while you're applying and you're going through this process, just make sure you have someone who's willing to stay by your side and motivate you as you're finishing your application, and also someone who's willing to revise you and then check in on you from once in a while. And just be a good support system.
Awesome, thank you. Let's see. Sarah, let's go ahead and hear from you. Same thing.
Hey guys, I'm Sarah and I'm a sophomore at Trinity Washington University. I have to say, this sounds really cheesy saying it, but whenever I applied for the Opportunity Scholarship, you learn a lot because I applied maybe like a year before and I didn't get it. So I'm not gonna lie, it kind of deterred me from doing it the second time. But doing it the second time, you kind of just learn more about self-confidence, because once you have your support system there, and once you have all the little things that you might have been missing the first time, the second time around, you really just get it and you're like, no, if I want something, I have to go get it myself. So it really did give me confidence in a sense to be more confident about myself when I do anything internship wise, job wise, or it's just never ending. You're going to go through applications all your life. So as cheesy as it sounds, this really did make me think if I want it, I have to go get it. I have to put my best foot forward and keep going. Don't let anything stop you. So personally, that's really what the scholarship did for me in the applying process.
Awesome, and we'll go ahead and follow it up with you, Margarita.
Hi everyone, my name is Margarita. I'm from North Carolina, and I also attend Trinity Washington University. I'm a junior studying international affairs. I think not repeating, but kind of going on what everyone else said, is that to have a support system and also to know that they would know your weakness. I have a mentor that's always helped me. I did some college credits, and she knows that my weakness is writing. So when I told her about the scholarship, she was on me about the date. She checked in with me every week, and she was like, hey, how's the process going? What are you doing? How's the essay? And when she was like, all right, you only have 4 weeks. And I'm like, it takes me a long time to start an essay. And she was like, you really want to have a really good essay. And for you to do that, you have to have time to revise it. And I honestly did I sent her an essay and she revised it, and I sent it to one of my professors. He revised it. I sent it to a former teacher from high school. She revised it, and then finally, when they all brought it back after the last revision, I sent it to her, and she was like, all right, finally. But I had to know that my weakness is writing. I'm not a really good writer, and practicing has helped, but definitely having time and having her there, putting pressure on me and always checking in on me, what was the process on it, helped me a lot while I was applying for the scholarship.
Awesome. All right. So what is the best advice that you have for completing the application that we can provide with everyone here? Sarah, let's go ahead and start with you.
Man, so I feel like for everyone, it's kind of very like similar because I feel like for people that have never had to apply for like FAFSA or any of that stuff, like this kind of process is like really scary. And to be honest, I think the only thing that can, not the only thing, but the thing that mainly helps you is like to make sure you have a really good support system. Like everyone I feel like says here, like once you have someone that revised it for you, kind of goes over, like pushes you and motivates you, like that really pushes you to completing the application. I was telling Sadana that I had did my whole application and it was sitting there because I had applied the year before and I didn't get it. So I was really like, oh, I don't really know. Like I'm really confident in my essay. Like I feel like I put my heart in it, but I don't know. And it was like a scholar who was like kind of calling around saying like, hey, I noticed you didn't like submit it. Like what's going on? Like, do you want to talk about it? And if it wasn't for that person literally calling me and saying like, no, sire, like believe a little bit more in yourself. You're not giving yourself enough credit. Like that's what really pushed me. So I have to say, like, it's really just about like listening to people around you because they know you. So if they tell you like go for it, like believe me, go for it.
Good. All right. Margarita, back to you on this one.
I think the best advice for me is to not slack on the application at all. Like just because you're like, oh, I still have 2 months, I still have 3 months. Whenever I first saw the application, I think I saw it like the first openings in like September or November, I'm not sure. I saw it, I actually came up to the link like the first week that it opened up, and I didn't tell my mentor about it until like November or December. And I didn't finish the application until like a week before because I took forever because I was overconfident on my essay. And I was like, I think I have a good essay. I should be good. But no, I think it's the whole like be on top of yourself and not honestly just depend on someone being there reminding you, but also try to be your own support system and be like, okay, this is when I need to turn this in. But you also have to know your strength and your weaknesses. If you know you're not a good writer, then you need to give yourself extra time in order to finish the application.
All right. Anything you'd add to that, Indira?
I'll just say that whenever I was applying to the scholarship, I know that one of the things I was, kind of tired of is having to apply to so many scholarships in colleges, like during my senior year of high school. So I kind of lost a little bit of confidence and motivation, but, don't lose any motivation when you're applying to the scholarship, and don't have the mindset that you're not good enough for to earn the scholarship, because it's definitely something that I had in mind when I was applying. And so just know that that people are reading about you and your story, and that you deserve the best. And if you give it all that you have, then you will get the best.
Awesome. All right. Well, I'm potentially going to put the three of you on the spot real quick, but just kind of as y'all were talking, I know, you kind of mentioned, the essay and things like that, and in kind of giving best advice for completing the application, was there anything in all three of you don't have to answer. If one of you has something and you want to share it, great. If none of you do, again, that's totally fine. I just thought I would ask. Was there anything outside of the essay in the application that you struggled with, or you felt like you needed to reach out to somebody, to kind of have additional assistance with any part of it?
I think mine was a little bit like technology wise, just like all the also like getting the forms that I needed. I had to reach out to other people because are some things I was like, I don't know what this is, but no.
Oh, like personally, yeah, the uploading of the documents on the thing was a little like confusing for me, and because like I graduated in high school in 2013, so at that time I knew I couldn't really go to college, so I never knew the process of even applying to anything was like, so that alone was like really stressful. And then whenever it was like, oh, just take a like, I remember I was in a group meet with other people that were applying, and I was like, hey guys, how are you guys like uploading these forms? Like, do I just take a picture of it? Is that like not professional enough? So that kind of stuff definitely kind of like was scary. But once you have like again someone that tells you like, hey, just do this, this, and that, like it's kind of straightforward for me. It worked out for me at least.
Great. That's actually really good. Because, like you had mentioned, with technology, we've probably got some people that are potentially, going to either on tonight or who will see the recording of the webinar who, maybe struggle with that because, they've not been in school for a while or things like that. So that was really good. All right, so Margarita, we are going to start with you on this one. How did you decide on your first choice partner college selection, and was there anything that you considered when looking at it?
So I decided on Trinity Washington. Like I said before, I have a mentor who asks, like, always tries to ask me, and she's been very present in my, I guess, education, and has like encouraged it a lot. And she's always asked me what have I wanted to do with my life, and I was like, well, I want to do international affairs and or I want to do something in this field. And so when I was looking at colleges, I'd kind of thought about Eastern, but I think I saw the program and I didn't see the program that I wanted. And so I decided on Trinity Washington as my first choice. And I think I'd actually put Christian Brothers, but then I was like, when I told her about it, she was like, well, that's a college that's like really out there, and Trinity Washington is in DC, which is where all like the things that you're interested in, politics and all this like big organizations that you'd want to work with. I would really think about that whenever you go deciding on what you're gonna put as your first choice, because she was like, don't think about it being close to home as opposed to what you really need. So I was like, well, Christian's brother was kind of like about the same distance from home, but at the end I decided for Trinity Washington just because of what it offers, and also because I was at a community college here in North Carolina, and it's a really small college, and I really loved the small feel of the school, and Trinity offers that. It's a really small field. We're like very close. The professors know us, and we can get to talk to the professors anytime. It's like a face-to-face thing. Like they know who you are. You can talk to them, email them, and yeah.
All right, Indira, how about you?
So when I applied to the scholarship, there were only two partner schools. That was Delaware State University and Eastern Connecticut State University. So I didn't have much of a choice. But after I looked into the schools and the programs that they offered, both of them had biology, and so it came down to kind of which one was closer to home. And so Delaware, although they're both far away from home, which I'm from Georgia, I chose Delaware. And also another thing that I took into consideration was kind of like the environment of the state and the community, as well as the surroundings. So Delaware is actually kind of in the middle of Washington, D.C., Philadelphia, Maryland, New Jersey. And so with that, I could see myself getting involved in things, and not just in Delaware, but in other states, which I have done over the last couple of years. So that has been an amazing opportunity. And so that's what I considered when I chose Delaware State University.
Okay. And Syra, what about you?
So Trinity for myself was not my first choice, but whenever I went through the whole process of having to choose one, I know I went to every single homeschool page because I was like, I've never done this before. I've never had to really look at colleges because I'm from Georgia also. So I knew already certain schools in Georgia wouldn't even allow DACA recipients to apply and etc. So I really just went to every single page, and I kind of just went for the feel for it, what I felt like their community sense was like. And that's kind of what I based myself off and what I felt would give me more opportunity. And thankfully I'm at Trinity now, which has given me more opportunity that I feel like I can handle sometimes, but it's just always a really great feeling overall.
Gotcha. All right. And then we'll kind of follow the last one up with how the scholarship has impacted your life so far. And then I'm going to add to that. I know two of you are at Trinity, and Indira, you're there at Delaware. But just go ahead and add to it, what it's been like for you on campus. How is the culture there, whether with other dreamers or, those outside of, those who aren't. So kind of give us your thoughts on that, with the fact that you have had to move away from home and how that's affected things with you. So, Indira, let's go back to you on that one.
I'd like to say that, I don't regret my decision of coming to Delaware. And I think that the scholars can also say that they don't regret their decision. And I think in the schools that we're in, that we have had a good support system. And Delaware State University is actually an HBCU, historically Black college university. And so they have a history of kind of helping minorities succeed in education. And so, I felt that that was the place for me. And so that the state of Delaware and the community on campus have been nothing but supportive and helpful. We've even had meetings and meet and greets with the leaders of the state who are actually fighting in Congress to find permanent bipartisan legislation for Dreamers. And so since the moment we walked into the state, we've been welcomed with open arms. And I don't think that we would receive that in our home states where we come from. And so that has been kind of like life-changing and eye-opening. To see that there are other people in other states who are willing to give us these opportunities, to succeed and thrive in other states.
All right, Margarita, what about you?
For me, so I never imagined that I would be in college. I graduated from high school in 2010, so school for me was like a slow thing. Like I was at community college taking classes like here and there, and when I finally got this, it's been the first time that I've been in like a setting of a college, like a full time, and just being concentrated on being a college student. It has been very like amazing for me, especially with my Trinity community. From the professors to the president, they're very accepting of us. I think when I was back in North Carolina, I've never ever spoken about my situation or my immigration status. If I would have, I don't think people would have accepted it. But here it's like a norm. Like you just, oh yeah, I'm a dreamer. Like nobody cares. You're just another person there. I felt like, and Sadana was actually the founder of the Dreamer Alliance, which is a big group on school that supports. There's a big support system for the students. And I think you had mentioned earlier about that going to our Dream.Us advisor on school. I'm really close to my advisor, and I go to her for everything and anything. And I've always felt accepted, and I've been given so many opportunities as well at Trinity. A lot of it's like, we actually got to meet Speaker Nancy Pelosi, I think twice now, and we get to meet Don Graham a lot because he's around. We're close to him, and I've done, I did one internship, but we're really close to a lot of international organizations and all this advocate groups that you can work for or intern for, or there's so many opportunities for volunteering. So it's been great. DC has been great for me, and the school has been amazing.
That's awesome. All right, and Syra, what's your thoughts?
Wow, so I feel like in a sense, the scholarship alone has been like kind of like giving back control of your own life in a sense. And I think all of us can sit here and say like all the good things that we've been handed and like all the opportunities that we have, but we're all human, and things happen in life, and so we've all like personally, like my father was like almost deported like in November, and we were fighting the court case, and it was a very hard time because you're in school and you're like, wow, I really have to put like everything forward because this is literally what they've sacrificed so much for. And having a community that's literally behind you was like checking up on me all the time, like, hey, are you good? Do you need help? Like, you need to take like a mental day, you need to do this and that. So it was in a sense a very empowering sense. And Trinity's an all women's college, so that is like already like boosted like 10 times more than it probably should be. And so I always felt like I had someone there. So I was like, if it wasn't for the scholarship and I was like still in Georgia and we were going through that, I don't think I would have been as okay mentally, simply because I didn't have that community around myself. And of course you have family, and it's always, of course, good to have family, but in a sense, it was like more of like, I've had other people there that were like, I've gone through that. I know what you're feeling. Like, let me hand you my resources that helped me through this, or in any kind of way. So it's been like just kind of giving you control of your life again, to say like, even if this happens, like I'm gonna like do everything I can to make it be worth what my parents like are like overcoming, in a sense. So it's very empowering. Like that's, yeah, for sure.
Great. All right. So I'm trying to think, is there any final words that the three of you have for anybody that's not necessarily something that we've kind of gone over, but just either encouragement or anything like that outside of what you've already done before we move on?
I think I just want to say that even if you don't get the scholarship, don't get discouraged. Try again or look for other scholarships. There's a lot of opportunities, I know, and then it's hard. It's so like I don't know, you get stressed out and then you get I don't I can't think of the word right now, but from being denied, I don't think, don't get discouraged, honestly. Try again.
So like personally, I got rejected the first time, and it was like really hard because I had people in the group chat that I was in that got accepted, and it was really like it sucked having to tell them like, no, I didn't get accepted. And it was interesting because I thought, I was scared. I was like, what if they're like, they just kind of keep going on. But like a couple of them kept in contact with me. They were like, hey, the like scholarship opens again in a couple of weeks. Like, are you prepared? Are you doing da da da? So like Maggie's saying, like regardless, like apply again. Believe me, I didn't get it the first time, and if I would have given up, I would not be at DC now. So believe me, like go for it. Don't be scared. You really have nothing to lose. Like just, I have to say, like just go for it, because I'm so scared that some of y'all won't, because I almost didn't. But like really, just go for it.
One more. Oh,
Oh, you can go finish.
I was just gonna say one more thing. Don't forget to check your spam mailbox, because that is where I got my email, and I was like almost missed it, but because I did watch this, they said check your spam box. So I checked it and I was like, oh my gosh, if I wouldn't have checked that, I would have missed it. So check your spam box.
Okay. Yeah, that's very good. Yeah, don't forget to check your spam box. But one of the things that I'd like to say is that whenever I got news that I received a scholarship, I was kind of torn because I didn't want to leave my family. So that was like another huge burden. Then you had to, you got the scholarship, great, amazing. But then you had to think about what you were leaving behind. And I actually, I sat down with my parents and I said, I don't know if I can leave you guys. You're the people that I've known, since I came to this country, and it just felt like, something was being taken out of my life. But my parents, they said, no, you're going. This is something for you. So just, if you're torn between that, just think that you're going to get an education, and in the end, you're going to be helping your family. So you're going to be paying, paying it forward someday. It may take a while, but you're going to get there. So just keep that in mind, that you're helping your family by getting an education.
That is definitely a great word from all three of you. Thank you so much for allowing me to put you on the spot like that. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get ready to finish up here. And so just kind of just real quick, brief little recap there, just for some additional tips on completing your application. I know we've, the scholars have kind of said it, I've said it, but the essays really are a key part of the application. So make sure, you're definitely, looking at it, whether you use Microsoft Word or another, sort of text editor, write it out in there versus in the application itself. It's super easy to copy and paste it into that, that way, you're seeing if there's spelling mistakes, things like that. Make sure that you're sending it to somebody that you trust, who will be willing to give you the feedback that you need, to help you revise it. And then, again, documents, transcripts, and your test scores. ISTS, the customer care department there, can definitely help you with any problems that you're having as you're trying to upload them. and then, make sure that you're getting everything in before the deadline. It's real important to make sure you get those documents uploaded before the deadline. That way, if something were to come back and it's had to be rejected for any specific reason, it gives you the opportunity and time to make those corrections before the final deadline. And again, just kind of, wanted to reiterate, when you're doing the application, make sure that you are researching the schools. As the girl said, it's important to know that you're going to end up at a school where, they have the major that you're looking for. You also want to look kind of at the cultural fit. So when it comes down to, putting your first and second choice schools in there, make sure you've done your research, because if you're awarded the scholarship, and you put, say you happen to put Eastern Connecticut, and that's who you end up being awarded the scholarship for. If they don't have your, your major, or something happens kind of while you're there, unfortunately, you can't transfer the scholarship to another school. So make sure you're doing your research, on that. And then it looks like we do have a few more questions. So let's go ahead and take those before we end it.
Great. Yes. So we have a couple of questions in the chat box. First one is, what is the average SAT/ACT score range of the recipients?
Oh, that is a very good question. I honestly, off the top of my head, I don't know, and it does vary, since the scholarship application is also serving as your college application. It's probably a good idea to take a look at the school's website and see if they have any information in there. Some schools will probably have it listed, others won't. But you can even reach out to the schools and say, is there a minimum, on that. But yeah, off the top of my head, I do not remember kind of what that average range is.
Okay, next question. What are the hours of the ISTS customer care for phone calls?
Okay, for phone calls, they are available from 8 to 5 Central Time. They're located in Nashville, Tennessee. And if you're not able to get them by phone, you do have the ability to leave a message, and they'll return the call, or shoot them an email. A lot of times email can tend to be a little faster. So they don't work strictly with just our scholarship program. They do work with others. So sometimes email can sometimes be a little quicker as far as getting a response. But yeah, phones are 8 to 5 Central Time.
All right, our next question is, over the years, what is the average amount of applicants per year?
So the first year that we offered it, which is actually the year that Indira won the scholarship, we actually had 81 students who received the scholarship, and of those, it was from a pool of, I believe, in the neighborhood of 160 maybe. So it was about half received it that first year. Numbers have definitely gone up since then. It's been several hundred who have applied and completed the application. And I think the largest pool of winners that we had was about 215. I believe that was 2 years ago.
And actually, about right now, we're kind of seeing we have about 1,000 applicants, right? About 1,000 applications have started, I believe.
Yes. Yep. So one thing when you're looking at the application, a lot of times, and it was kind of even mentioned, either deciding, hey, this isn't for me, and, and people don't complete it, that's life. It happens with everything we do in life, so we'll always see those crazy started numbers, But those who actually take the time to really, get down in there and, submit the application, to those who then, are finally complete, the numbers do go down. And that's with anything that usually happens when it comes to scholarship applications. But yeah, right now we definitely have over 1,000 people who have started the application. So by the time the 31st rolls around, we'll see how many have decided to actually follow through and complete it. We definitely hope that y'all are in that group.
All right, and now we actually have some questions for the panelists. So you spoke a little bit about what it's like being away from home and being away from your parents, but a student has asked, what has that been like? What has that separation been like? Sometimes it's a lot of miles away from from everything you've known, from everything you're familiar with. So if anyone would like to add anything else on to that answer, like what is it like being away from your family and just everything you've always known?
Okay, well, personally, I wish there was like a word you can really explain it, because it's like really hard and it's like aggravating and it's frustrating, because like personally, like whenever I was in Georgia, my mom doesn't drive, so I would be the one that kind of drove her everywhere. So it would just really suck just to have her, even just random phone calls with her. She'd be like, yeah, I had to pay like $40 for a taxi to get to work, and you're just sitting there and you're like it's hard hearing it. It's not easy. And so like, but again, like this is when it all comes to like, it's who you have around you. Like, so whenever I had these phone calls, like I would be so strong with my mom, and I'd be like, you know what, I'm doing all this for you, don't worry, like one day everything's gonna be fine. And then I would hang up and I would just start crying in my room, because I'm just like, it's frustrating, because you can't, it's not anything you can do at the moment. But just know that in the long run, like that's when you're going to be able to step in and save them more than you could have at the moment being home. Does that make sense? So yeah, like just really hard for sure. But I don't know, just who you have around you definitely like kind of empowers you just to keep going regardless. But that's how like I've taken it personally, for sure.
Would anyone else like to add anything to that?
I guess I'll just say that it's kind of one of those things you have to take day by day. That it's like like she said, it is hard. we're not going to sugarcoat it. It is definitely hard, and I cried. Oh my gosh, I had to be here a week before, on my own orientation. I'd never been away from home, and so I think I cried every day during that week before school started. But then you begin to adjust. You find new friends, a new community, and then your family kind of learns to to not have you around all the time and not depend on you, which is hard for us because we all come from families where we're so close together. But you learn and they learn, and then when you come home, it's like it's like the best thing ever. And then you just keep in mind that you're doing this for both you and your family.
All right, and Indira, I actually have a question for you. A student has wrote, I'm also planning to major in biology. Since you're almost graduating, how do you plan to afford medical school?
That's a very good question. Oh gosh, you would have to do a lot of research. But that's one of the things, with kind of the uncertainty of what's going on in politics right now. It's kind of hard to tell what's going to happen and how that's going to affect my future education going into medical school. But there are a lot of schools who are willing to financially help DACA recipients. So I don't know if you've heard, but NYU has been one of those schools that has said it's a tuition-free school regardless of your status. They're going to if you're competitive enough to get in, they're going to fund your education to go to medical school. And then also the schools like Loyola Stritch School of Medicine, who was the first medical school to ever accept DACA recipients. They're always been very supportive of that, and so they have plenty of financial opportunities for DACA recipients. So it's a matter of doing research and just finding the right school who's willing to help you. And then there's other graduate scholarships that are out there that you also have the opportunity to look into.
Okay, and since we've now run a little bit over time, I'll do one last question, and this one's for Syra. What did you do different the second time you applied?
So the first time, I personally think that as much as I want to say like I gave it everything, I feel like I probably didn't have enough people look over my information, so like my essays in a sense. So I honestly like really scared on letting like I graduated a couple years before, so I didn't have the connections of any teachers because a lot of teachers in my high school were actually like, wow, you're undocumented. I don't have anything to tell you. So I was like, you know what? I'm not going to go to that school because they're not going to help me. So it was really just having any of my friends kind of read it over for me the first time. And I was really embarrassed about it because I was like, what if they like judge my writing and, you know, so and so forth. So I think that might have not helped me in a sense. And the second time I was like, you know what? Like whenever I had more people like, hey, you know, it opened up and hey, da da da, like it was a constant reminder. And I was like, you know what? Like, let me get multiple people to go over my essays. I want to say that my essay probably improved by like 100% for sure, having everyone like reading over it and telling me, why don't you do this or why don't you change this and this and this. So I want to believe that my essay really like showed who I was and made them see like, okay, this is someone we want at our school. So that's what I think I did differently. My essay for sure, because all my other information was the same. So I want to say that it was my essay. So when Sedona was or when they were saying like make sure you put effort in your essay, 'cause that's what they're scoring you on. Like no, really, like really make sure you do your part on that sentence, because I think that's what put me in the second round.
One thing I actually kind of wanted to point out too, and just real quick, is you know, if you happen to have a sibling who's also applying, don't think that there's the chance that only one of you will end up with a scholarship. You know, we don't take siblings, you know, we don't look at it, you know, in that sense of going, oh, well, you know, we've got a set of siblings here that are, you know, both applying, you know, we're only going to take one. Indira can actually talk to this as, you know, her sister has actually also received the scholarship and she's at Trinity. You know, don't let that actually be a deterrent either. So, all right, well, I think that is it. So thank you everyone so much for joining us. We definitely appreciate it. And we will end up sending this out to everyone. So if, you know, you need to go back through it for any reason, you know, you'll have the opportunity to view it and then and share it. You know, if you need to share it with somebody who's thinking of applying, you know, and they may have questions. And again, you know, reach out to ISTS customer care if you know you come up with any other questions you know once this is over. So thank you so much everyone, we definitely appreciate it.
Have a good night. Bye.
Night.